May I have your attention? Please be seated for the invocation delivered by Bishop Robert E. Fannin, class of 1958.
Let us pray. O ever-present and gracious God, we feel your spirit in this grace as we begin this momentous occasion. We praise your name as we celebrate a new beginning with the inauguration of Dr. Jeremy Paul Martin, the 18th president of our beloved Florida Southern College. We recognize all the honored guests that have gathered here to share this moment with our community. As we're in your presence, O Lord, we are surrounded by your beautiful creation, blended in by world-famous architecture. This institution of higher education has reached levels of academic achievement merged with a spiritual understanding recognized by all of us present here today. This continued growth of excellence will be experienced under the dynamic leadership of Dr. Martin. Bless this ceremony and this president as we launch a vision for the future with great anticipation in the holy name of your Son, our Savior, Jesus. Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you so much, Jenny Heitman, for leading today's hymns, and to Matthew Corral for his beautiful accompaniment on the organ. Good morning. My name is Tracy Tedder, and I have the great privilege of serving as the Provost and Vice President of Academic Affairs. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to Dr. Jeremy Paul Martin's inauguration as the 18th President of Florida Southern College. It is wonderful to see you all here today. A special welcome to our close to 50 delegates of colleges and universities, which includes presidents from the following universities: President Catherine Rowe of William & Mary, former President of William & Mary, Dr. Taylor Reevely, President Nelson Marquez of Weber International University, President Angela Falconetti of Polk State College, and President Devin Stevenson of Florida Polytechnic University. Thank you so much for attending today's inauguration. At this time, I would like to recognize esteemed members of the Florida Southern College Board of Trustees. Please wave or rise as I call your name. Seated on the stage are Chairman Bob Fryer, Vice Chairman Rich Fulton, Ashley Barnett, Dr. Keith Barrand, Bishop Tom Berlin, Dr. Kevin Brown, Nancy Katarius, Sanji Coney, Ed Crenshaw, Bill Drost, Al Garcia, Gregory Fancelli, Bishop Bob Fannin, Ann Hanson, the Honorable Fred Lewis, Stan Little, Bob Puterbaugh, Jason Rada, David Rogers, the Reverend Alex Shanks, Yvette Simmons, Larry Stahl, and Julia Roberts. Seated in the audience are Steve Buck, Warren Pattison, and Bill Pugh. I am also happy to recognize the following elected officials: the Honorable Paula Dockery, State Attorney Brian Haas, Polk County Sheriff Grady Judd, Lakeland City Commissioner Sarah Roberts McCarley, Mayor of Lakeland Bill Mutz, Polk County Commissioner Martha Santiago, the Honorable Kelly Stargell, Chief of the Lakeland Police Department Sammy Taylor, Polk County Commissioner Becky Troutman. We also have Alice Hunt, District Director, and Gabrielle Fazekas, Legislative Representative for Congressman Scott Franklin, joining us all today. And finally, I am pleased to offer the warmest of welcomes to members of President Martin's family, including his wife Tia Martin and their children Gianna and Joey. Also, we are pleased to have President Martin's mother, Jama Martin, here along with many other special guests who have traveled near and far to be with us today. Thank you so much for being here. Now it is my pleasure to ask the chairman of the Florida Southern College Board of Trustees, Dr. Robert L. Fryer, Jr., class of 1970, to offer his welcome. Please join me in welcoming Chairman Fryer.
Good afternoon. It is my privilege and pleasure to formally convene the inauguration of Dr. Jeremy Paul Martin, the 18th president of Florida Southern College. Florida Southern College has been the most fortunate to have a strong history of recruiting the most knowledgeable, experienced, faithful, and dedicated presidents over the last 142 years of our storied history. On this special day, we install our next leader to take the helm, who will benefit from the work of so many who have helped to lay the groundwork and shape Florida Southern College as it is today. Please allow me to offer my gratitude recognizing two of our past presidents who are with us today. Thank you, President Emerita Dr. Ann Kerr, for your service and partnership over the last 20-plus years. And Dr. Tom Rushling, thank you for serving so admirably from 1994 to 2004. Would you please stand? I would also like to recognize several family members of our former presidents who are here today. Would you please wave or stand Mrs. Dottie Rushling, Mrs. Dr. Robert A. Davis, and Mary Thrift Chambers and her husband Carlisle. It is extraordinary to have all of you here today to continue the legacy of strong leadership. I had the great pleasure of being a student during President Charles Thrift's tenure, an alumnus under President Robert Davis, a trustee under President Tom Rushling, who recruited me to the board in 2002, and as chairman of the board under President Ann Kerr. The time has certainly flown by. Please join me in sharing your appreciation for the extraordinary job our Presidential Search Committee, who oversaw a national search with a large pool of exceptional candidates for our position as president. Together, this accomplished group found President Martin to help us plan Florida Southern College's future as one of the best small private colleges in America. President Martin's selection was unanimous by the search committee and confirmed by the Board of Trustees. President Martin started his journey at Florida Southern College with a bang. When he and I first talked when he arrived, he said to me, "Bob, I want to meet as many people who are connected to the college as I can." Since then, he has been laser focused on connecting with many alumni and friends, faculty, staff, students, trustees, as possible in order to learn as much as he can about Florida Southern College. And I've heard from many of you who have spoken so appreciatively that he took the time to listen and to learn about your time at Florida Southern and your story. He was especially thrilled to prepare to meet the first class under his leadership. Undaunted by the mid-August heat, he eagerly traversed the campus, handing out ice-cold popsicles, greeting students and parents, and lending a helping hand to students moving into their new home away from home. From that very first day, we knew we had the right person for the job. On behalf of the board, I would also like to thank our faculty, our staff, who are the heart of this institution, for working so hard on this week's events and programs and all year long. Please know that we appreciate your efforts so much. Thank you, President Martin, for taking up the charge to become Florida Southern's 18th president.
Thank you, Chairman Fryer. It is now my pleasure to host several esteemed members of our community and college to share their greetings and congratulations to Florida Southern College and to President Martin. Our first speaker today will be Brian Haas, State Attorney for the 10th Judicial Circuit of Florida. Brian will be offering comments on behalf of the state of Florida.
Good afternoon, everyone. As State Attorney for the 10th Circuit of Florida, I'm honored to be here today for such a momentous occasion in the rich history of Florida Southern College. Our city, our county, and our state are so blessed to be home to such a thriving institution that excels at preparing the leaders of tomorrow in so many different fields of study. Higher education is the bedrock of our state's future, And as the oldest private college in the state, Florida Southern has been leading the way for generations. The installation of President Martin is an exciting time and will no doubt continue the great tradition of strong leadership at the college. Since I was elected state attorney in 2016, I've had the honor of regularly engaging with many of the classes here at Florida Southern. I've seen firsthand the dedication of the professors and the eagerness and aptitude of the students. I and other state leaders are excited to continue the collaboration with Florida Southern as we continue to improve educational access and prepare the next generation of leaders in Florida and beyond. Thank you to the Florida Southern Board of Trustees, the faculty, and staff for all of your dedication. And congratulations to President Martin. We stand ready to support you and Florida Southern College in any way as you pursue your goals as president and support the collective mission of education in the state of Florida. Thank you.
Thank you, State Attorney Haas. It is my great pleasure to invite Vice Chair of the Polk County Board of Commissioners, Dr. Martha Santiago, to offer her greetings.
Good afternoon. On behalf of the Polk County Board of Commissioners and the residents of Polk County, I would like to extend a warm welcome and heartfelt congratulations to Dr. Jeremy Martin on his new position as president of Florida Southern College. As a prominent institution in higher education, nationally and in Florida, Florida Southern College plays a vital role in enhancing our community's cultural and economic vitality. I have been pleased to work with Florida Southern College in support of many positive programs and projects in Polk County, including the recent expansion of the Ashley Gibson Barnett Museum of Art and the Frank Lloyd Wright Sharp Family Tourism and Education Center, as well as providing annual marketing support for the Wrights campus. I look forward to working with you, Dr. Martin, and continuing a valued partnership with Florida Southern College. I wish you every success in your role representing this gem in higher education in Central Florida. Welcome to Polk County. Thank you.
Aren't we lucky to have such wonderful elected officials in the state of Florida and in Polk County? Our next speaker has certainly been a wonderful advocate of Florida Southern. Please welcome our mayor for the city of Lakeland, the Honorable Bill Mutz.
Good afternoon. In 1922, the city of Lakeland had the great fortune to partner with Florida Southern College to build a campus on the beautiful shores of Lake Hollingsworth. Since that time, the relationship between the city and the college has flourished. Florida Southern College consistently contributes to the educational and the cultural assets within the fabric of our community. Those contributions are typified by thoughtfully designed excellence. Indeed, Southern has become a gateway for many talented young people to attain their education and make Lakeland their home while becoming leaders and working professionals who remain within their community. And in some cases, those alumni have even brought their parents here to live and reside. So may their tribe increase. Dr. Martin, knowing you, Tia, and your family is an absolute pleasure. As a former trustee of Florida Southern College, I am confident this institution will continue to have a bright future, guided by your remarkably winsome, strategic, and godly leadership. On behalf of the City of Lakeland and my fellow commissioners, we extend a warm welcome to you, Dr. Martin, and your family. We are eager to support the exciting opportunities and initiatives that will enhance the City of Lakeland and the experience of Florida Southern College's students in the years to come. May God's richest blessings continue to accelerate your extraordinary and dependent intentionality. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mayor Mutz. We appreciate all of your support and continued advocacy of higher education in Lakeland. Now, it is my distinct honor to invite Dr. Catherine Rowe, President of William & Mary, to the podium for her remarks on behalf of the Academy. Dr. Rowe, welcome to Florida Southern College. We're thrilled you're here today.
Good afternoon. What a glorious day. It was snowing when we left Williamsburg. Distinguished leaders and guests, I'm honored to bring greetings on behalf of our country's first university and second college, William & Mary, and all the great colleges and universities of the United States. It is a delight to introduce to you someone you are coming to know well, your extraordinary president, Jeremy P. Martin. 2025 is an auspicious year for all of us. We approach the quarter millennium of our country next year, 2026. We have reached the first quarter of the 21st century, 2025. And the transformations ahead of us will test every institution. Every college will need leaders who can steer through changing tides with wisdom and compassion, and you have found one. Florida Southern, you have a captain at the helm that you can deeply trust. To each of you, from board members to employees, from students to neighbors and leaders in the region, I bring a solemn and joyful charge. Just as a president must accept the full care of a college, so too the college community, all of you, accepts responsibilities towards the president. And today you consecrate those mutual obligations. So let me share with each of you my insights about my friend and esteemed colleague, Dr. Jeremy Paul Martin. Chairman Fryer and the Board of Trustees, you have recruited to Florida Southern College one of the best strategic minds in higher education. In my hometown, we'd say he's wicked smart. It's no surprise that President Martin is a former basketball player. He will set up plays down the court, empowering everyone on his team to play at their best, like Larry Bird. Like Larry Bird, he knows where the basket is at every position on the court. You all know Larry Bird, right? So, all right, for the students in the room, maybe I should be saying Steph Curry, the general of the game. Mr. Chairman, with the board support, he will lead you to win after win. To the faculty of Florida Southern, I shouldn't be turning my back on you when I speak, but I am speaking directly to you. Know that you have a president who will uphold the enduring value of the liberal arts in the 21st century. President Martin is a longtime educator and a son of educators. He recognizes your expertise and your drive for excellence. He knows firsthand the challenges of our evolving classrooms, of changing student needs. He shares your commitment to ensure that Florida Southern College graduates human beings who will flourish as professionals and as human beings with integrity and with purpose. Trust him, be curious and open to his ideas. He will support you and honor you everywhere he goes. To the staff at Florida Southern, you will never, ever be invisible to this president who knows you as cherished colleagues. He will be respectful. He will be curious about your lives, your work, and your beliefs. President Martin is alive to everything staff do to create a home for students in safety and community. No matter how many hurricanes this campus weathers, he will be at your side, wading ankle deep upstream with you, and always with good cheer. Bring him your best ideas. He will learn from you what this college needs. To students, you have a president who will show up on the sidelines of games, at art exhibitions and poster sessions with every affinity group and club who invites him, astronomy club, spike ball, moot court, pre-health society, board games. Any ultimate Frisbee players out there? He's got a decent forehand, needs some work. I'm a Shakespeare scholar, so of course I have to include the vagabonds here. Okay, you have over 100 clubs, as I have discovered in preparing these remarks, so he will have to pace himself. But he has enormous energy, and if you invite him, he will be there, interested, game to play, all in for you and your hopes for your futures. He will set the bar high, and he will give you every support to achieve. You can count on him, as I know from direct experience in the very hardest situations. You may find yourself in tough ones, and Jeremy Martin's message will be steadfast. I will walk this path with you, and I will be there to share your joy as you come through. To alumni, you have a president who will treasure the investments in relationships that this college is built in. Jeremy Martin knows that our job, if we do it well, is to cultivate lifelong relationships, those connections that will extend over 30, 40, 60 years. He brings a strong spirit to this role. I was raised as a Quaker, and a phrase from George Fox comes immediately to mind when I think of Jeremy Martin. He seeks to know that of God in every person. He will find the potential in every relationship. I also married into a Jewish family, so if you know your Yiddish, you know Jeremy Martin is a mensch. He is a complete human being in every respect, with all the qualities that one seeks in a leader, a colleague, and a friend. Now, to the friends and neighbors who call Lakeland and Polk County and Florida home, to the leaders and legislators here, you have found a true partner. You probably already know this. His family roots in Lakeland already run deep. You may not know it, but Jeremy Martin loves boating. His ideal afternoon is being out on the water with his family, so if you give him an invitation and you got a boat, he will go. And he can attest that a rising tide lifts all boats. To everyone in the audience, as you come to know President Martin's family, here's my last piece of advice. You will recognize that you caught the best package deal. Every presidency is a partnership, as the first gentleman at William & Mary knows. In Tia Martin, you have a first lady with grace, surpassing warmth, and the wry humor and perspective that President Martin will need to be anchored. The role of first spouse can be a heavy lift, Lakeland. Make sure Tia Martin knows that she is welcome every day. In closing, Mr. Chairman, congratulations on snapping up the leader that you need at this moment and that you can count on for years to come. I am honored to call him a colleague, a friend, and now President. President Martin, congratulations.
Thank you, Dr. Rowe. We are pleased that so many of Dr. Martin's colleagues from William & Mary are here with us today. Now I am happy to ask Bishop Tom Berlin to come forward to offer special comments on behalf of the Florida Conference of the United Methodist Church. Bishop Berlin?
President Martin, as you well know, Jesus called us to be a light that everyone sees. He told us to be a lamp on a stand that fills a dark room with light. Methodists, United Methodists, have built and been affiliated with some of the best colleges and universities across this country. We have a remarkable number of universities that we have connected to and colleges, and Florida Southern is one of those. And so today, President Martin, I greet you on behalf of the Florida Conference of the United Methodist Church. We have been connected to this university since its founding in 1883. Dr. Martin, Florida Southern has long been a beacon of academic excellence, academic curiosity, spiritual growth, and servant leadership. And so we give thanks that in this new chapter of leadership that you now open as president of the college, that you will join us in this great work. For our Methodist connection, our United Methodist connection to Florida Southern College is not a thing of the past. It is a thing of the present. It has produced some of our finest clergy and laity that bring life and vitality to our churches, and we continue to be an active partner in its future together. We greet you, and we are glad that you are here.
It is my pleasure to invite our Faculty Senate President, Dr. Cindy Harden, to the podium for her comments.
President Martin, Chairman Fryer, Board of Trustees, guests, students, and my fellow faculty. Thank you for this opportunity to say a few brief words on behalf of the faculty. Today marks an exciting new chapter for our institution, and we are thrilled to welcome Dr. Martin into this vital role. From his early days on campus, we have all embraced your leadership, determination, work ethic, and how genuinely interested you are in learning about the college and all of us who work here. We especially appreciate your willingness to tour each of our academic buildings and to meet with us to learn more about the many academic and non-academic programs on campus. But it is not just your sincere interest in the institution and the academics. It is also your humility, your personable nature, and your sincerity that have truly resonated with us. Well, that and the fact that he fully understands the parking problems on campus that the faculty and students complain about on a daily basis. So thank you for that. Seriously, though, your continued willingness to meet with us whenever we ask, your focus on providing our students with an outstanding education through strong academics, your desire to support the faculty in the best possible way, and to recognize the vital role that faculty play in ensuring that students receive the very best education we can offer has not been lost on us. In your first days at Florida Southern, you spoke to us about how much you value teamwork. You told us what you believe the attributes of all good teams are and asked us, as part of the Florida Southern College team, to follow those attributes. There were 3 of them. Yes. The first one, good team members show up. Right, here we are. Okay. And speaking of showing up, I want to personally invite you to show up on Wednesday nights at Swan Brewing for team trivia. Anybody who wants to come, but we need help. The second attribute, good team members give their best effort. Your leadership and vision will be instrumental in guiding the college toward new heights, and we are confident that together we will create a thriving and dynamic campus environment. The faculty looks forward to working with you and supporting you in your efforts to build upon the college's strong traditions while embracing the opportunities for growth and innovation that lie ahead. And the Faculty Senate stands ready to collaborate with you and offer any support needed. And the final attribute, good team members celebrate others. We are excited about the future and your leadership. And today, we celebrate you. Thank you for joining our team.
It is my pleasure to invite our 99th Student Government Association President, Mr. Zion Virgil, class of 2025, to the podium. Zion is a senior chemistry major and has been an amazing SGA president this year. Please welcome Zion.
Good afternoon, everyone. It is a true honor to be here today and represent the students of Florida Southern College as we officially welcome President Martin. When I first heard about Dr. Martin, I was struck by the consistent descriptions of him from fellow students. He's described as kind and interested in how all of us are doing in our classes and activities. He is someone who has had an extraordinary ability to make everyone feel like a valued friend. From day one, he stepped into his role with enthusiasm and sincerity, and those characteristics are still the same on day 194. I had the privilege of hearing from staff who were impressed by how personally and warmly he introduced himself. It's clear that Dr. Martin is not just focused on leading from the top, but on being accessible and engaged with every member of the college community, students, faculty, and staff alike. I've been fortunate enough to interact with Dr. Martin on numerous occasions, and while I can't recall our first meeting due to the many conversations we've shared, I do remember the moments that have truly stuck with me. One instance was during a lunch, where we were both enjoying the excellent food from Lovebird, which happens to be our favorite place to eat. We talked about the college's future and also mine. His thoughtful, reassuring words left a lasting impact and reminded me of the true strength of his leadership. He's not just concerned with the success of the institution, but also with the well-being and the growth of each individual within it. Dr. Martin's leadership fills me with optimism for the future of Florida Southern College. With his guidance, I have no doubt that Florida Southern is on the path to a new era of positive change, growth, and excellence. We are lucky to have a president who brings such wisdom, vision, and compassion to the role. Dr. Martin, I am excited to see what the future holds under your leadership, and I look forward to the continued progress we will make together as a community. On behalf of the Florida Southern College student body, I hope you will enjoy the very first photo of your first class of students in the fall of 2024, the future alumni of the class of 2028.
Larry Stahl, our president of the National Alumni Board of Directors, will now offer his remarks on behalf of our alumni. Larry?
Dr. Martin, as president of the National Alumni Board of Directors, and on behalf of the 40,000 plus alumni around the world, I am delighted to formally welcome you to Florida Southern College. It has been evident from your very first days here in Lakeland that your leadership approach, your enthusiasm, as many have said, your genuine warmth and dedication has resonated with the many, many alumni you have met these first few months. We especially appreciate your commitment to embrace the storied history of this institution, to appreciate our people, our traditions, our core values, and to truly understand the soul of Florida Southern College, and to be guided by this understanding as you lead the way forward for our beloved alma mater. We pledge to be here for you, to support you with our time, our treasure, and talent to ensure the continued success of Florida Southern College. We look forward to the next 20 years under your leadership. I have a special gift to you from our alumni. It's a Frank Lloyd Wright designed clock for your office. I know being on time is important to you, especially because you stay so busy and focused on behalf of Florida Southern College. I hope this will help keep you on schedule. Best of luck.
And now, please welcome Florida Southern College's 18th president, Dr. Jeremy Martin, for his inaugural address.
Friends, thank you. Day 194 has been pretty incredible. And before I get going, let me note, I am more optimistic about Florida Southern than you are about me because of who you are and not who I am. To members of the Board of Trustees, students, faculty, staff, alumni, cherished friends, family members, and distinguished delegates and guests, thank you for honoring Florida Southern with your presence today. I personally am deeply honored that you're here. Truly, thank you. In the next few minutes, and my wife Tia and our children have regularly reminded me to take only a few minutes, I'd like to share a few stories about the people that have defined my journey and a few stories that have defined our college. My hope is that you find elements of your own story within, and the deal is the next time we see each other that you share more about your story with me. Students, one theme you'll hear is that since college, I have not had a boss. Rather, I have enjoyed a string of mentors. Good fortune had plenty to do with it, but I also approached everyone for whom I worked as if they had something to teach me. Whether during normal working hours or not, engaging with them and learning from them was worth more than any foregone overtime pay. I hope you'll find the same as you advance in your own careers. My parents, Bob and Jamie Martin, have been the greatest influence upon my life. I'll speak a bit more about my late father shortly. Mom is here today, blushing already to be named, I'm sure. In many ways, our house was atypical. Mom was a businesswoman, my dad an educator and the family cook. Mom was an athlete, my dad decidedly and admittedly was not. So it was that my mother taught me to shoot a basket and many of the other rites of sports passage. My dad cheered the loudest, but it was her that I sought out to talk about in a game that I just played. She's also the hardest worker I've ever known. A formative childhood memory remains camping out with my sister in the cubicles outside her office in our sleeping bags as she toiled all night to complete a project. When she left that role, Delta replaced her with 3 people, proving that she is indeed superhuman. Shortly after arriving in Lakeland, Mom came to see the office. The presidential robe had just arrived, so naturally I tried it on. And as I stood there snazzily enrobed in a grand space of Frank Lloyd Wright design, she looked at me and said, "Jeremy, with only the love between a mother and son, do not let any of this go to your head." No, ma'am. But her parenting wisdom that sticks with me the most is to have an attitude of gratitude. Mom, I'm thankful. When I came to William & Mary's doctoral program, those childhood lessons held true. After Michael Fox gave me an opportunity as a graduate fellow in the president's office, I began working for Taylor Reevely, William & Mary's 27th president, who rivals my mother for hours worked. Even on weekends, the Brafferton, which housed our offices, enjoyed at least a skeleton crew. So after church on Sundays, I would climb to the 3rd floor to work on my dissertation, nodding to Taylor in his 2nd floor office as I ascended. Having paid the price of admission through extra effort, Taylor would welcome me into his office on my way out, prop his feet up on his desk, sometimes with shoes on, sometimes not, and humor whatever topic I wished to discuss, dropping pearls of wisdom along the way. He once told me, accomplished as he is, to never underestimate the role of luck in any successful person's career. I often now sit at my desk at Florida Southern and think, how lucky am I? Taylor, I'm grateful. One of Taylor's major feats was to convince Bob Gates, the 22nd U.S. Secretary of Defense and only person to hold the role under U.S. presidents of opposing political parties, to serve in the honorary position of Chancellor of William & Mary. Over the next decade, Secretary Gates' visits to campus, I was privileged to consume with him more red meat from Five Guys and local steakhouses than any cardiologist would recommend. During that span, Dr. Gates published 3 books, all of which address leadership in some way, so I got to hear him think as he was writing. He too offered great wisdom. One of my favorites was on leading young people, which he did as president of Texas A&M, as well as defense secretary. He noted a similarity between soldiers and students. Young people can spot insincerity a mile away, and they won't tolerate it. Always be authentic, even when you have tough news. Sir, I'm grateful. When Catherine Rowe became William & Mary's 28th president, she was gracious enough to allow me to stay as part of her staff. Watching her cultivate a team, coaching us up, was something to behold. One of life's great joys is having a problem to solve, the right people in the room, and Catherine at a whiteboard. We always leave with a clear plan, everyone on the same page, and a picture on our phones of the multicolored action plan just created. One of the greatest lessons she taught was, as she puts it, active listening, always seeking to understand someone else's vantage point first. But my dad remains the largest influence on my life. He grew up in small Georgia towns like Bainbridge, Baxley, and Dublin, where my grandfather served as a minister in the South Georgia Conference of the United Methodist Church. Several years ago, Dad and I took a memory trip to many of those places, and I discovered these were not the prominent town square churches I had expected. Granddaddy Martin was a humble country boy, and he was called to rural churches. Those were his people, some at dirt crossroads that no longer even appear on a map. And he served that call faithfully alongside Granny Martin their entire lives. T and I now feel a similar sense of calling to Florida Southern. Our whole lives, we've thought we were ordinary people. Turns out, we're monks. Though my dad passed away just over a year ago, I still think of him almost daily. He was better relating to people than anyone else I've ever known. The defining story of our family is this. When I was quite young, our cupboard became full of Happy Meal cups and the other souvenir glasses of childhood. My dad's dream was to have a matched set of tableware. So one day he purchased a set of glassware, 8 tea, 8 water, and 8 juice glasses. To ensure that my mother's legendary frugality would not rescue any of the incumbents, Dad stood over the trash can, dropping each glass one by one, so that as they fell, the one falling broke the one below it beyond repair. Thus the cupboard now held matched glassware aligned in perfect rows, and our family dinners featured matched settings as well. Dad was delighted. About that same time, Dad was grocery shopping, and had we lived in Florida, I'm sure it would have been at a Publix, when he discovered a jelly jar with a sturdy handle. Thinking this design would reduce spills when my sister or I made sandwiches, he happily brought it home for a temporary stay in the refrigerator. The jelly jar did indeed reduce spills from kids' sandwich chefs and emptied fairly quickly. Someone in the family, and it's not clear whom, though definitely not Dad, then placed that jelly jar in the dishwasher. At our next meal, guess what appeared? Later in life, when my dad served as a local pastor in the North Georgia Conference of the United Methodist Church, he told that story many times. When we buried him, that jelly jar sat on the altar of the church. Why, you ask, would any family celebrate a condiment container for nearly half a century? Hear then the lesson of the jelly jar. Whatever form or flavor you bring, you belong in this setting. Friends, I am a jelly jar who finds myself in the iconic setting of Florida Southern College. But you know, there may be a few other jelly jars here. There are even some very colorful jelly jars with ornate lids on the stage. Whatever form or flavor you bring, you belong in this setting, and I look forward to getting to know you better. Because after all, a jelly jar or crystal champagne flute are vessels. And as St. Paul reminded us in his second letter to the Corinthians, we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of God and not of us. Any vessel has dual purpose, to be filled and to be poured out. Students, at Florida Southern, you will be filled with dynamic, engaged learning provided by our exceptional faculty of scholar teachers in the hope that, as graduates, you will be poured out in lives of positive and consequential impact wherever you may find yourself. There are two things that define Florida Southern and our community. They are in the very DNA of the place: confidence and grit. From our origins in 1883 until 1922, Florida Southern operated in 4 cities, chased by disaster, natural and otherwise, from location to location, until in 1922 we found our home here on the shore of Lake Hollingsworth. As we emerged from the Great Depression, our president, Lud Spivey, was paid so little that he lived with his family in dorm rooms on campus until a house could be provided. And it was from those circumstances he saw Frank Lloyd Wright, America's preeminent architect, on the cover of Time magazine. To Mr. Wright, who had just completed his masterpiece at Falling Water and would begin work on the Guggenheim shortly thereafter, President Spivey sent a sparsely worded telegram inviting Wright to join him in creating a temple of education here in Lakeland, confident that the best and brightest would enroll here. At Florida Southern, we have the confidence to dream big dreams. And we have the grit to lay the brick to achieve them. From Mr. Wright's designs, the students built much of the campus, including all women students who constructed the original Rue Library, now Hollis Room, during the Second World War. And when I listen to your stories over and over again, I hear the confidence and grit that define our college. Knowing, however, that past performance is no guarantee of future results, I ask you in this generation, hoping that you will truly audibly respond, we will. Florida Southern, will we have the confidence to dream big dreams and the grit to lay the brick to achieve them? Florida Southern, will we have the confidence to dream big dreams and the grit to lay the brick to achieve them? Friends, we will indeed. It is a surpassing honor to be your president, one for which I am grateful each and every day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Martin. Please be seated. How about another hand for our new president? And now I would like to invite President Jeremy Martin to join me for the investiture ceremony. Dr. Jeremy Paul Martin, the Board of Trustees calls you to be the 18th president of Florida Southern College. In accepting this call, you join a distinguished list of educators who, as president of this institution, has shaped its history, its character, and its quality. The board places in your hands a college with an honorable 142-year history distinguished for excellent faculty, talented student body, and its accomplished alumni, who have made a positive and consequential impact on society. And now, by the authority vested in me as chairman of the Board of Trustees, it is my privilege and pleasure to confer upon you, Dr. Jeremy Paul Martin, the presidency of Florida Southern College, with all the rights and responsibilities that pertain thereto. In a token of your investiture, I present you the Presidential Medal, which is symbolic of the trust placed in you as the 18th president of this institution. Dr. Kerr, Dr. Rushling, Please join me, and we will now place this little thing. I can tell you this weighs a lot, but he's a big boy. Thank you very much.
President Martin, it is customary that if you have a gift, you often give it during the greeting. This is a Bible, which I give to you, and I would like to give it to you as we pray for you. It's called a Wesley Study Bible. The Bible is the Bible. You don't change the Bible. But there are notes at the bottom, and these notes are connected to the Methodist tradition in which you were raised and to which the college is affiliated. You will notice on the inside cover, I've written a note to you. It says, "May you be strengthened in your inner being through His Spirit with power, and may Christ dwell in your heart through faith as you are being rooted and grounded in love." From Ephesians 3:16 to 17. I ask you to hold that because you're a man of faith, and we believe that matters. We believe that forms the character in certain ways. We believe that prepares you for leadership in certain ways. And we believe that sets this whole relationship up to be generative by the will of God and someone who is submitted to the love of Christ. We'd like to pray for you. Here's what I would like to ask you all to do. If you're a person of faith, perhaps you'd like to join me in prayer. And the way you can do that is to simply turn your palms up. Just hold your palms up. If you're not a person of faith and you're like, what's that guy doing? You don't need to worry about it. You're invited to join, but there's no judgment if you don't. But if you'd like to pray for the president in this way with me, just hold your palms up. President Martin, under your guidance, may the college continue to flourish. May it continue to provide an education rooted in a Methodist heritage. May it foster intellectual curiosity. May it form the spirit. May it grow the mind and the intellect. May it allow students to open new doors of thinking. May they meet people here that they wouldn't have met anywhere else. And may you lead in such a way that people see the root of your own character, rooted, connected to Christ. May your leadership inspire students, faculties, and those in the Florida Southern College community. And may you have courage and wisdom in your role as president to be the hands and feet of Christ in the world. May God give you wisdom. May God give you courage. And may you be strong. And fear nothing, for in God's provision, you can do all things. Amen.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Marley Widener, class of 2025, who will lead us in the singing of the Alma Mater, followed by the Reverend Tim Wright for the benediction. Please stand for the Alma Mater and remain standing for the benediction.
Across the garden, sun And now as you go forth with hope for the future and a vision of all that we might accomplish together, may the love of God and his grace be with you on this day and forevermore. Go now in peace. Amen.